morning. It's going to be a bit of a confused video this time. I did one yesterday and I tried so hard to load it and discovered in the end it had somehow been corrupted. I don't really understand what that means or how it happened, but it happened, and so I'm starting again. But maybe it was a message that wasn't the right message, so it wouldn't go through. And there's just so many things, because we're coming up to Christmas, there's so many things to talk about with you. So I'll leave the hypermobility to the end of the message, and I'll start right away saying to you that because hypermobility has become quite an important topic for you, and I'm getting quite a lot of emails, so thank you very much for people emailing me. I am planning to come to Sydney, Brisbane and Adelaide over the course of the next 6 months. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but I'm sure that you'll help me. What I need is a group of students in each place. Sydney seems to be okay, Brisbane is a little bit, Adelaide seems to be okay. So Brisbane people, well anywhere, Brisbane, Adelaide, Sydney people who want me to come, please email me and let me know your interest. Because unless there is a groundswell of interest, then guess what? I'm not coming. There's lots of things for me to do here, and I'm quite busy here. For those who think I might be lonely over Christmas, no, I have a really wonderful Christmas. And I'm going to a Christmas service this morning, and it makes me quite emotional thinking about that. So yes, and you know, kids, don't waste your angel. Link into a group of people who will help you to become more spiritual and to work better in that regard. So don't waste your angel. The food bank, I do a little bit of a roundup. The food bank is going really well, and we are now supporting a small school in the outer suburbs, an autistic school that is really struggling for cash. They're cash strapped, and they're finding that their students, the small number of students that they have who are autistic, are not coming to school well nourished, and they don't understand about food. The school has been trying to feed them, but it's a choice between teaching aids or food. It's a very hard choice to make, and I suppose both things miss out. So what I would like you to do is pray for us, but also keep in mind that the food bank is here for your use as well. You don't have to be destitute or like Neil Donald Walsh going through the rubbish bins. It just means that we're here to help when things get tough. And they all get tough from time to time. They even get tough for me from time to time. If you don't use the food in the food bank, we will have to put it in landfill. So please use it. It's not often that people say, come and use our free supermarket, but I am saying this. So if you come on a Monday before 11 or after 12, you can stay for yoga or stay for lunch and access the food bank. I'm also available on Fridays around 3, but you'll have to give me an email for a thumbs up for that one. But if you have a need and those 2 times aren't suitable to you, email me and I'll see what I can arrange. At the beginning of January, we've got a teacher training happening, and the focus will be my psychophysical technique, and we will be expanding into grace healing, which is just beautiful and which I've done for many years. It's not something that I got a diploma for, and you can't. It's available to everybody. You just have to know how to use it. So I'm hoping that I'll get a lot of people who will come for the PPT and then stay for the grace healing. It's not a workshop insofar as you won't go away with a certificate saying you are now a da-da-da-da-da, but it will give you some insights and it will add to your knowledge if you already are trained in my techniques. And we'll just play it by ear and see what happens. I just want to say from the last lot of emails that I've got that we do live in a celebrity world, don't we? Everybody wants to be a celebrity for something. And if you're not a celebrity, you're trying to be one in some way perhaps, and the world says to you that you're not worthwhile. You have to be a celebrity to be worthwhile. We can clearly see that that is not so, but we often don't take our critical faculties to that. And the world that tells us that we're not suitable or good enough or any of those things, it's very insidious. You know, if you buy this product or use this something or other else or spray this on yourself, you'll be a better, more wonderful person and the world will love you. Well, maybe you've tried and you can clearly see that that's not the case. I'm a yogi, but I'm a Yogananda kind of yogi or a Thich Nhat Hanh kind of yogi. I believe in yoga, but I also believe that there is a God, an overarching God, even a God that was above the Buddha. And I think that you can acknowledge both. You don't have to be one or the other. And from where I'm sitting, it's very beautiful to be both. To say I'm a yogi, and I'm a yogi because I am God inspired. I do the work that I do because I'm God inspired, not because I'm a clever yogi, not because I can do warrior pose beautifully, but because I'm God inspired. We all need to know that we are loved. Somebody said to me a while ago, well, not so long ago actually, they proposed to me over the phone. I don't know what they expected. And when I said that I thank you very much but no thank you, they said, but you know, you haven't got anybody to love. They couldn't be more wrong. I've got so many people to love and who love me. And even if they weren't there, I rest really securely in the fact that God loves me and I love God. And if I have a wish in all the world, apart from the one that will you subscribe to my videos, sorry that was flippant, if I have a wish in all the world, it's that I get to know God better. So I'm here due to the love of God. I would like to be here till I'm 103. I even would like to be here till I'm 203, as long as I have this amazing connection to God and as long as my mind stays on the plate. You know, every day, in every way, I try to tell God that I'm in love with God. I'm in love with the energy or whatever it is that God is. And I'm reminded by the husband who said, the wife says to the husband, you know, do you love me? And the husband says, what do you mean, do I love you? And the wife says, well, easy, do you love me? And the husband says, well, I told you 25 years ago when we married, I told you that I loved you, and nothing's changed since. I have to tell you that if you're that kind of husband or that kind of wife, a lot has changed. And I wouldn't feel that I was loving God or even loving yoga if I didn't check in a number of times a day and say, you know what? I really love you. When I turn around and see a beautiful flower, I really thank you for the flower. I really love you. When I see someone doing beautiful yoga, I really love you. I love the person, and I love God. If you're really lonely and isolated, take 3 minutes out of your day to just sit and get close to God and say, ask God, because God says, command me, Ask God, what do you really love about me? What do you really love about me? And then just wait. A word or a sound or something will come into your mind. Trust it. If it doesn't happen the first time, it'll happen. So take time to make that connection. If you had a friend and you said to that friend, I'll meet you for coffee tomorrow at 9, and then you didn't turn up, and you didn't turn up any coffee morning, would that friend drift off? Yes. Well, it's the same thing with prayer and with God and with everything else. You've got to make that effort. You have to make that effort. You are beautiful just as you are. You are loved. You are desired by God. You are a child of God. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Okay? Now, I will talk. I've got this little notepad in front of me because when I had that meltdown with the disc, I thought, well, maybe it was a message. I wasn't as clear as I should be. So I've divided things up into small pieces, and I'm trying to work through and be a little bit more organized, keeping in mind that if something special comes into my mind, like in my paintings, I will say it to you even if it's out of order and it doesn't seem to make sense, because that's how I work. With hypermobility, we're doing hypermobility. Hypermobility, as I've said, is not just about flexibility, it's about all kinds of disturbances in the body caused by a collagen mutation. And, I see it in people I never expected in. People who I think that everything is going well, and then they display something that's really such a marker to hypermobility, and I think, oh my goodness, so that is why that happened, and that is why this happened, and that is why they're so anxious, and that is why they're so depressed. It's that collagen thing again. And I recently read in one of their scientific journals, there is no such thing as benign hypermobility. So more and more and more people are suffering from this collagen mutation. In Britain, the physiotherapists there are calling it an epidemic. I'm not sure whether it's an epidemic and we're just noticing it more, but it certainly is becoming more prevalent, and maybe it's caused by pollution, or maybe it's caused by sitting in front of the computer so long and using electronic equipment that's disturbing our DNA and T cells. But whatever it is, it's becoming more prevalent, and I'm noticing it more and more, and it's answering so many questions for me, and I hope that you're looking. Please understand that hypermobility and all the things that we're talking about, it's also very closely linked to the work that we were doing in the cerebrospinal fluid, and the work of the DNA and T cells and the Akashic records. All this fits together. All of it goes like this. I'm only now starting to find ways to talk to you about it, but this is what it is. It's a very close-knit, very elegant way the body and the mind and the spirit work. And it's very complex. If you read what I've written and you start thinking about it and then keep tuning into me, gradually as I find ways to explain it to you, I will. But it's simple and it's difficult at the same time. It's like grace healing. Grace healing is all about working with the koshas, the energies of the body. Now, the koshas, these energies outside the body, yoga says of 5 of them, but Einstein said there was 12, and they relate to levels of existence. So when you start reading those kind of things, it expands your mind to see the body in a different way. You know, we're exploring these other levels of existence. We're coming up the levels of existence. The Akashic, the Akashic records, where are they? I do believe that the Akashic records are in the DNA. The DNA keeps records of our existence. As I've said to you before, science only has discovered 3%. It's unpacked 3% of the DNA, and it says the other 97% are rubbish. No. They're just multi-dimensional. And science doesn't understand multi-dimensional right at the moment, but they will. So when you start working with me, gradually this year I'm going to be disconnecting from anything that is not purely what we are working with and what we believe and things that are necessary for us. Your beginning program will be the Registered Yoga Teacher Australia, which I will take up to the 350 mark because everybody is doing that. They're doing 500 hours, so taking it up to 350 is good. You can extend it further than that if you do, if you are an honest and wonderful student and you do extra of the programs that I put out and I can see that you're demonstrating that and working at it, I will give you the 500. You know, it's not about physically putting another certificate on the wall, it's raising your spiritual nature. And what you can actually do and do for yoga and do for God. So you have said in becoming a yoga teacher that you want to serve your community. Well, I'm giving you some skills that you can serve on all kinds of levels and be enormously effective. But you have to want to go there. By the way, I'm looking for volunteers for yoga teaching and for food bank and stuff like that later in the year. So if you are looking to do your 8 hours at community service and wondering where to do it, please do it with me because I need all those 8 hours I can get. I need all those little glimmers of light in the dark that you wonderful people are. And God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God saw that it was good. And you are the light in the darkness. You're the light in the darkness for me, and you're light in the darkness for your community. Don't be swallowed up by depression and anxiety. Just know there's a way for you. You're needed and wanted. You don't have to buy anything to be needed and wanted. Namaste. What a glorious day and a lovely life we live.